What's up everybody, Chef Glenn B and I'm back in the kitchen, and today I'm working on pan roasted duck breast à l'orange. Let's get right into it. All right, so there are a couple of things I need to do before I get into the duck breast. I got some Brussels sprouts that I need to get steamed, and I want to have them chilled before we get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottoms off of these, and I'm going to cut them in half. So all right, so I got my steamer going here. Water's already hot. I'm gonna crank it up a little bit. And I'm gonna steam these. Normally, if I were to leave them whole and I wanted to steam them, I would steam them for about 6 minutes or so. So I've cut them in half. I'm gonna steam these for about 2 minutes or so. So normally if I were cooking these Brussels sprouts whole, I would steam them for about 6 minutes to have them perfectly done, 6-7 minutes. I cut them in half. I want them to be a little underdone. So I'm gonna go about 2 minutes or so on these. I'm gonna take them out, put them out on a sheet pan, on a rack, and stick them in the refrigerator and allow them to chill. All right, so my Brussels sprouts are done. I'm gonna go ahead and take them out and get them chilled. I want to turn them cut side down, so if there's any moisture trapped inside of there, that moisture can drip out. All right, so I'm ready to get started on the orange sauce. I've got some fresh squeezed orange juice. And some honey. So I'm going to bring this to a simmer, and I'm going to allow this to reduce. I want it to be thick and syrupy. All right, so I'm ready to cook my duck breasts. I've got a couple of duck breasts here. You can see the skin is dried out a little bit. I allowed these duck breasts to sit in the refrigerator uncovered for 2 days. And what I wanted to do was to get as much of the moisture out of the skin as possible, because we want this skin to get really, really crispy. And that moisture is not a friend for crisp. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to score this skin so that it helps the fat to render. It's going to have, the fat needs somewhere to release. And so I want to help it to release itself from under the skin. And so I'm going to score this. All right, so I'm going to season my duck breast with some salt and pepper. Okay, so the duck breast is seasoned. I'm ready to get started. So I've got a saute pan here, and I'm not gonna saute this duck breast. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pan roast it. And so we're gonna start really, really slowly. And I'm gonna start with a little oil. And I don't need too much oil because The duck breast is going to render so much fat, it's going to create so much oil. But I want to start really slowly. Pan's a little cool, that's okay. I'm going to bring it up. So my duck breasts are cooking up nicely, and my sauce is coming along well. Starting to thicken up a little bit. We wanted to go a little bit farther than that. With the duck breast, what we're going to do, normally duck breast is served at medium rare. And so we're going to do 90% of the cooking is going to be done on the skin side. And we're just going to finish it on the other side. All right, so I'm ready to go to the next step with my sauce. I've got some veal stock here I'm going to add to the sauce. And I want to allow that to reduce probably by about 1/3. Let's check and see what our skin's looking like. Looking good. Get nice and crisp. All right, so my sauce is looking good. I'm ready to go ahead and finish the sauce. It's nice and thick, big bubbles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little squeeze of lemon to that, give it a little pop. I'm gonna add some orange zest. Should do it. I'm gonna let that reduce a little bit more. My duck breasts are coming along nicely. Let's see what the skin's looking like. Nice, really nice. So I'm gonna start basting these duck breasts. Sauce is ready. I'm gonna turn the heat off, and I've got a little bit of butter here that I'm gonna add to the sauce. And I'm gonna swirl it around until it melts up. So as I mentioned earlier, we want medium rare on these duck breasts. And I'm gonna finish them in the oven, but what I'm gonna do is before I actually flip them and then finish them in the oven, I'm gonna temp them. For most of you, probably can't tell the temperature by feeling the meat. So the easy way to do that is just to use your digital thermometer. And so right now, we're at about 125 degrees. That's rare. I'm gonna flip them over. Give them a little base real quick. And I'm gonna finish these in the oven. One thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to handle your duck breast with tongs. As you notice, I'm using a spoon. In the oven until the internal temperature reads 135 degrees. All right, so I got my duck breast in the oven. The sauce is done. I'm ready to braise my Brussels sprouts. I'm gonna get rid of some of this excess duck fat. keep some of it there. I'm gonna let this get hot, a minute or so, and I'm going to cook my Brussels sprouts in the duck fat. And with my Brussels sprouts open side down, we want to get a nice brown on them. This duck fat is going to impart so much flavor into these Brussels sprouts. I'm going to add a little bit more of my duck fat. I wish you guys could smell this. All right, so my duck breast is done. I'm gonna sit them on this cool rack here and allow them to rest for at least 5 minutes. Between 5 and 10 minutes, they need to rest. Flip my Brussels sprouts. Got some nice color on them. Beautiful. All right, so my duck breast à l'orange is done. I'm ready to give it a shot here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try the wine. I've actually decided to pair my duck breast à l'orange with a 2013 Marcassin Pinot Noir. This is an absolute legend of a Pinot Noir. The proprietor and the winemaker is Helen Turley. Need I say any more? She's a legend. She's been making great wine in Napa Valley for decades. Let's give the wine a shot. All right, so the first thing I'm noticing here, I can see a little bit of the age in the glass. There's a bit of an orange hue to the wine. It lets me know it's a little bit older. On the nose, subdued fruit. The fruit isn't as zippy as it would be if it was a recent vintage of a wine. It's a 2013, so it's mellowed quite a bit. So I'm getting some cherries. I'm getting baking spices. I'm getting a little cinnamon. Smells like a little bit like baked cherry pie. All right, so let's give it a taste. Still nice fruit, not quite as zippy as I imagine it would have been if it was a new vintage. Fruit's a little subdued, but plums, cherries, like baked cherry pie almost. It's really good. Let's see what the duck's tasting like here. Nice and tender. Really good. Let's see. That's good. I tried it without a lot of the sauce. Pairs really well. So let's dig into the dish a little bit more here. So the skin is very crispy. That sauce. Yeah. So the sauce, obviously there's a little bit of a sweetness with the orange juice and the honey, but the veal comes in and it gives it such a richness. Really good. Let me try the Brussels sprouts as well. Perfectly cooked, not overly mushy. Nice bite to it, really good Brussels sprouts. So now let's try the pairing again. Wow, I like that. I really didn't know what to expect with the orange and the honey and the wine and the sauce pairing with the wine. This is really good pairing. All right, so I got to double check. Let me double check just to make sure that this is good. I've always got to double check. Spot on. Fantastic pairing. So this was a fantastic pairing the duck, the Brussels sprouts and the sauce with the wine. But these two things on the dish, the duck and the Brussels sprouts, were a fantastic pairing in and of itself. The richness of the duck, the slight bitter from the Brussels sprouts, spot on pairing. And then the wine just came in and just knocked it out of the park. Perfect pairing. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have subscribed and been watching my videos. If you're new and you haven't had an opportunity to subscribe, now's the opportunity. Go ahead and subscribe. I drop regular videos where I share my favorite recipes and I pair them with wines. And as always, the intention is to get the perfect pairing. I'm Chef Glenn B, and as always, eat well,